GRC headquarters in Kanifing says the postponement is highly regretted. The Gambia is bracing up for International Women's Day celebration. Observed annually on March 8, the country theme for this year's event is Pan-Africanism and African Renaissance in the context of equality for women's progress for all, which takes into account progress made in the socio-economic empowerment of women and girls. Louis Mendy has more on the goodwill messages from the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Dr. Ada Aissatou Sedi, and Josefa Maroto, UN Resident Coordinator, ahead of the day.
The 8th of March every other year is the International Women's Day. The objective is to showcase the significant achievements and challenges encountered in the promotion of gender equality and empowerment of women and girls as crucial partners to national and continental development. Brikama in the West Coast region is the proposed venue for this year's celebration, slated for the 24th to the 26th of April 2014.
The national theme for this year's celebration is Pan-Africanism and African Renaissance in the context of equality for women being progress for all, which is indeed relevant and apt, we'll all agree, as it takes into account progress made, particularly in the socio-economic empowerment of women and girls. However, a focus on Pan-Africanism and African Renaissance also gives us an opportunity to reflect as a continent on African self-reliance, particularly Africa's self-reliance trajectory, and the need, of course, to demystify and popularize our history and our shared values and norms.
A goodwill message from Vice President Jai Sedi ahead of the celebrations reflects on our government's stance in the promotion of gender equality and empowerment of women and girls. Aside from the country's Women Act 2010 and many other national documents enacted to promote the welfare of women and girls, the Gambia is also a signatory to several international instruments and protocols on the rights of women.
Inequality for women and girls is not only inimical to personal development and well-being, but also undermines national development itself. After all, they constitute more than half the population. Reducing or eliminating inequalities in society is therefore critical to improving the socio-economic well-being of both men, women, as well as the rest of society, including girls. Gender inequalities can be manifested, of course, in equal access to social services, wage employment, educational opportunities, the exercise of one's basic human rights, control over productive resources, as well as institutional support services, and freedom to make informed choices and decisions.
The continent is marking more than half a century of independence and self-rule. Vice President Jai Sedi said, Africa has enjoyed liberation, unity, and unprecedented economic rights, good governance, peace, and stability. That spirit of Pan-Africanism, according to the Vice President, should be nurtured, for its strength in the promotion of welfare was enormous.
Today, as we debate Pan-Africanism and the African Renaissance, 50 years on, after the OAU was formed, we have to ask some tough and soul-searching questions about our dream for Africa for the next 50 years towards 2063, and the Pan-Africanist norms and values that continue to inspire us as a continent. The establishment of the Pan-African Women's Organization of Power in 1962, indeed we'll all agree, has played a significant role in building African unity and solidarity among women during a crucial period, particularly in our continent, in the struggle for political emancipation.
In that regard, the Vice President went on, the role of African male and female, particularly those in business and professionalism, must be strengthened so that they could contribute to the Pan-African vision. To the UN country rep, nations should equally work for women's rights, empowerment, and gender equity as they strive to eliminate poverty.
This International Women's Day, we are highlighting the importance of achieving equality for women and girls, not simply because it is a matter of fairness and fundamental human rights, but because progress in so many other areas depends on it. Countries with more gender equality have better economic growth. Companies with more women leaders perform better. Peace agreements that include women are more durable. Parliaments with more women enact more legislation on key social issues such as health, education, anti-discrimination, and child support. The evidence is clear. Equality for women means progress for all.
As the Gambia braces up for this day, the catchphrase is equality for women means progress for all. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Meanwhile, the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs has said that gender equality and women's empowerment are fundamental to the global mission of the world and for nations to achieve equal rights and progress for all. Her Excellency Ajah Dr. Aissatou Sedi was speaking in an interview with the state broadcaster on the occasion of International Women's Day, which is observed on 8 March every year. Fatmata Simaha picks up the rest of that story.
Of the world to celebrate International Women's Day 8 March. The theme for this year's commemoration is Pan-Africanism and African Renaissance in context of equality for women, progress for all. The day is meant to highlight the achievements and challenges in the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls at national and global levels. In her interview, the Vice President and Minister for Women's Affairs highlighted that African Renaissance gives an opportunity to reflect on African self-reliance and integration and a need to share history and values. Madam Jai Sedi also spoke about the gains registered by the government in the domain of women empowerment.
We are not doing bad. Okay. Let's just pray that we unite as women and unite behind the vision of our government and our president. When we do that, we would not fail, inshallah. Because he has a lot of confidence in women. And I know women cannot afford to fail. And women will surely not fail. Because women are committed, women are hardworking. But just to give, those are the few examples I can give you. Even look at our offices. You yourself, you are a good living example. GRTS, I've seen a lot of women in top positions now. Yes. Program officers, you know, various positions. So you are moving, both at the radio and at the television. You look at the public service, civil service, we are moving. Today we have women managing directors. That was unthought of in the past. So I don't think we are doing bad.
Vice President elaborated on many strides President Jammeh has initiated to advance the cause of women and girls' education, improve access to health services, scholarship packages, agriculture, among a host of others we are cited.
Gambia has not done badly. Look at any of the development goals. We have not done badly. Look at education. We have surpassed, in fact, the expectations. When we look at basic and secondary education, either there is parity in some schools or there are more girls in other schools. Why did that happen? Because of the enabling environment that the president has provided. Empowerment of Girls Education Project. The president's Empowerment of Girls Education Project is one. The Jammeh Foundation is another. The Education Trust Fund is another. The president, in fact, also supports girls out of his pocket to go abroad, either Taiwan, you remember, some of them have been trained in Taiwan, others have been trained in Venezuela, others have been trained in Europe, in America, everywhere, even in Africa here, in Ghana and elsewhere. He's done that to promote gender equality in education. And today we are beginning to see the results, inshallah. To the extent that the boys are suffering, and this time he's saying, now I'll address the boys as well.
The country's number 2 called on Africa to unite in order to be a job center for foreign job seekers to work in Africa. This, she said, is already going on in Angola and other countries are setting the way. Advising Gambian women,
I would like to see, perhaps eventually, women to be big farmers. Because remember, the holdings of women are limited. It's either 4 hectares or 5 hectares. We want to see big farmers, commercial farmers. Women who are commercial farmers. And inshallah, it can happen. The Federation is doing something. I'm sure one day we'll have women in commercial farming. Because a farmer should not be poor. It's only in Africa that farmers are poor.
The day's celebration gives an opportunity for women to unite and mobilize for a meaningful development. Fatoumata Simaha, GRTS.
Aissatou Jifanga Jaju, the new APRC woman mobilizer, and her deputy were Thursday handed keys to their offices at a grand ceremony which started from the West Coast Regional Office in Brikama to the APRC Political Bureau in Kanifing. The report by Louis Mendy will come in our subsequent news bulletin. The state broadcaster Wednesday presented its 2013 farm produce 15 bags of groundnut and 102 bags of hay to the Jammeh Foundation for Peace held at the GRTS premises in Ndiaye Road, Kanifing. Details in this report by Winifred Nicole Hodebat.
President Jammeh's Back to the Land call and amplifying it. Gambia Radio and Television